Okay, we are live. Happy Sunday, guys, and Happy New Year. This is the first live for 2022, and hope you guys are excited. There's a couple of new people on the channel, there's a couple of new people on Instagram. So welcome everybody to our little community and hope you will join us every other Sunday for a live painting with me. And this year, what I have decided to do is just so that our Sunday lives are more lax and fun, I'm going to relate all Sunday lives to the video newest on the YouTube channel. So for instance, this past week we did loose sleeves, and so we're going to do something similar but with a slight twist today. So see you guys rolling in. Hi Leah, happy Sunday. Hi MJ. Awesome, your black paper just arrived. Yes, we're going to be using black aqua paper today, and I'm going to be using metallics. However, if you do not have metallics or black paper, that's okay. Just use your regular white and use regular watercolor, and you can still have fun and join us. So work with what you guys have, and yeah. And if you like the results of how it turns out today, definitely check out the products and consider getting them if you want to try them on your own. Thank you. Happy New Year. I know it kind of feels like forever since I last did a live, but yeah, I'm just gonna give you guys a couple of times. I see, minutes, seconds, not minutes. Minutes is too long. I see 17 people here already. Really quickly before we begin, I want to let you guys know lots of new things happening for this year. I've decided monthly I will be putting out a schedule so you guys can download the schedule for just so you can get informed on new videos, monthly classes, and then obviously Sunday lives, because Sunday lives are every other Sunday and I get messages all the time. Are you having a live today? Are you having a live today? So I feel like these will help. So they will be posted on YouTube, on the YouTube community, as a PDF, because there will be clickable links in there. So you want to download the PDF so you can click on the links for previous videos. Yeah, because you can check it out. Check out January. It's on the YouTube community, so you can it's there, and it's also on Facebook. Anywhere that I can post a link to something, it is there. All right, and the next thing before we begin, I wanted to say is tomorrow I am going to be launching the website link for our January class. Now, I have thought long and hard, what should I do for classes? Last year we did roses, we did peonies, we did leaves, we did leaves in the form of a wreath, all this fun stuff, but those were like one-off classes. So this year it's going to be 12 classes, one per month, and you can either choose to go one-offs or you can do all of them, because we're building up to a certain look and feel. And I'm just going to switch my screen over really quickly right now so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So I've been in the process of kind of figuring out what style we're going for. Now this was last year's last video. This is what I've been working on for our build up for our classes. So as y'all know, I love my loose florals and I really love my romantic look and feel, and I love the wet on wet style. So we're going to be focusing on that. And so if you like a style like this and you want to build on your composition skills, your color mixing skills, and then obviously your painting techniques, check out this month's class, where I feel like the first class for basics is always the most important. And then afterwards, we're going to build on it to kind of do other things. So this class obviously is just going to be the basics of mixing and getting these soft feels, and then also getting these these harder strokes happening, so you've got a good blend, which kind of creates a lot of visual interest. Anyways, check it out. Link will be going up tomorrow, and just wanted to give you guys a heads up. Try and mention it as much as I can all over so people know. Otherwise, I get asked questions all the time, and then it's the same thing, right? All right, so switching over, we've got our black aqua paper. Now, just to remind you guys what we are trying to mimic is this. So if you missed the class, check out the video. But this is what we class, as in the video tutorial for last week. This is what we did. These loose leaves, and then we did a nice little splatter of metallic champagne on there. And so I don't know if you can see it. Oh, there we go. You can see the glisten of it this way. So we're going to do something very similar. The only twist to this is we're doing it on black aqua paper, and I am using a bunch of different kinds of metallics. I think I really like the effect of the regular watercolor and then like the metallic shining through over it, like with some detail. So I'm thinking I'm going to include one more color, and that is this one right here, the sage, and it's also part of the palettes by KMS and Claire Scombs Designs, which is me. So if you guys purchase that, you would have these colors. Anyways, use what you have though. There's no pressure. We're here to have fun. Okay. I've got a palette ready. So this is black aqua paper. I am using my, not 10. Where's my 8? 10 gives me massive results. So we're going to use number 8 from the ZenART supplies. I'll keep 10 handy in case I need to use it for just like a light water wash or something like that. I am also going to keep, I want to keep one more size of brush handy, just so we can have a variety of different sizes of brushes. Now I don't see my number 4 silver black velvet, which is like my absolute go-to because it gives me the right size. But I think I will use the number 8 because I think I can let's just have 2 8s at this point. So now, even though they're both 8s, I still feel like the ZenART 8 is bigger than silver black velvet. So I think it's safe to say that we can get 2 different sizes here of leaves or what have you. Okay, so we are going to begin. I'm just going to make sure I can read your comments. So pulling that up. Lots of people joining. Hi, Jill. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Caddy. Hi, Zanette. Okay, let's begin. So I really liked how I had done this test for the KMS metallics, I think a few weeks ago, and I used a combination of teals and blues, and I really liked how those turned out. So I'm going to start off with using those, and then we're slowly going to branch out into using some purples, and yeah, because I kind of like those combinations going together. And then finally, to offset, we'll use a little bit of the sage, and yeah, let's have some fun. So honestly, it's just going to be a repetition of what we have here, okay, just to give you a heads up of what we're doing. And we're just going to paint these cute little loose looking vines almost, so it's almost like it's creeping from down or up. Feel free to get creative and either start your vine diagonally, or from the top coming down, or from the bottom coming up, however you want. You have full creativity for this. We're just going to be doing the techniques together, so have fun. Just have fun with it, okay? Let's not compare, let's not try to overthink. I'm going to start off with using the number 8, Zen, and we will begin with not these colors, these ones first, because I really like the Aries and Capricorn on here. They go really well together. So I'm actually going to fluctuate using these two brushes so that I can get a nice blend between Aries and Capricorn before it dries up on the sheet. So really blending that in. And then I just want to activate this so that we're not spending several seconds just activating color as well. All right, so we're going to start off by doing, let's figure out. So for me, I think I am going to do mine. I'm going to do my vines or leaves coming out diagonally from the top. Yeah, we'll do that. And I'm just going to zoom in. Let me zoom in so that I am making sure that you guys can see more of my sheet and clearer off it. Clearer off it? Does that make sense? Yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, here we go. And it is not getting cut off. This is what you need to see the most. There you go. Okay. All right. Okay, sip of my coffee and then we begin. Okay. So I'm going to start off by doing part of a stem because you don't want to draw the whole stem. You can kind of do parts of it and then kind of just go across. So I'm going to start mine coming from the top. Just like that. Now you can see some of it has dried off because I guess I had it on my brush for too long. Make sure you have some sort of, I guess, palette on the side that you can mix it. You can mix your color on there, and then this way, if you ever need to get it activated or slightly damp again, you can just go back to your palette. So there we go, and I'm going to start off by doing one here, another branching stem here, and then mini ones here. And then how I do my leaves. Using the point of my brush, the tip of this little branch here, I'm just going to press down and trail off. Then dipping the tip of my brush in water, I'm just going to go ahead and do another really loose little stroke on this side. Notice the white space I'm leaving. Notice the raw organic shapes that I'm creating using the brush. And notice how when I press down and I'm dragging, I kind of just flick my wrist. So try these different techniques. I'm trying to be less controlled in how I paint my leaves. And this is what gives you that loose look without giving you that perfect, what's it called? Perfect leaf shape. Because I don't like the look of perfection as much as I do the loose feel. So now I'm going in with the other brush. I'm getting some of the darker hue and I'm just kind of adding in some color here and there to the leaves. We're going to do another one here with the dark color. I'm going to get a little bit more of the darker hue and then just kind of extend it. Feel free to give the tip of your leaves like a cute little curve or something like that. It all doesn't have to kind of just end in a straight stoic manner like that. So going back to get some of the Aries, I'm going to go ahead and try and do more controlled sizing for these leaves because we want to have we're repeating the same thing in a pattern form, but we want to have nice small leaves, big leaves, so we can have a good variety of different sizing, which makes sizing and color, which makes for an interesting end result. And I'm fluctuating between the two brushes because after I lay down my teal, light teal, I'm going in and getting some of the darker blue, and I'm just adding in some additional strokes in there with the hopes that it is blending. And you can see, I guess the video doesn't do as much justice, but there are some cute little blends happening. It is a dull day here on my end, so you might not be able to see things as clearly. Because these are also metallics, and metallics never really transition as well onto camera, I find. Now, so these are just doing your basic leaves. So what I also really like to add to the loose look is adding cute little strokes to kind of extend and show more movement. So cute little strokes like that, kind of just insinuating that there's other little tendril kind of elements happening in there, and you're just kind of extending it to give it some more flow and movement. Now typically these are done in the lighter shade sometimes, mostly, so that they don't overpower the leaf as much. And then again, you can have them kind of just extending even from the actual stems themselves, and make them different, make them more curvy. So again, you're getting that nice movement happening in there. And by movement, I mean it's almost like it's dancing on your sheet of paper. All right, so we're gonna leave this one as is. I'm just gonna do, actually, I'm gonna do one more of the darker one just here, and I'll make this one slightly longer looking and not quite attached to the stem. You can see the white space or black space in, if you want to be really technical. And now we're going to go ahead and create a couple more of these extending downward. I don't want it going all the way to the end. And then after we've done that, we're going to switch to the purples. So I'm getting more of my Aries, and this time we've got some here. I'll have some kind of happening this way, and then some kind of going up that way. So again, dipping the tip of my brush in water after I've laid down this nice dark color, just to get a lighter look on either side here. And then when you want to do these tiny little tendrils, what you need to do is kind of just use the tip of your brush and very lightly do a stroke like that. Now that's just a very loose leaf that I've decided to kind of just on a whim paint in. And I'm fluctuating between these two colors as well, so keep that in mind. We are trying to do the two-tone, we're trying to do two different sizes, and keep in mind the thicks and thins happening here for our painting. Now this is a big massive leaf, so just to kind of offset it, I'm going to add a tinier one here. Again, notice the white space in between the leaves. I'm not fully coloring them in. This is what gives you that nice loose effect and feel. And for those who are joining in and you have not watched the previous week's video tutorial, I suggest you check it out, and then this might make a whole lot of sense to you. Otherwise, if it makes sense right now, regardless of watching it or not, I am glad that you're having fun with us. So I'm just using my judgment and kind of maneuvering and deciding where I want to add these leaves as I go along. I'm going to add one kind of coming upward that way. And what the whole idea with dipping your brush or the tip of your brush in water after you've laid down that first stroke, that fresh stroke after you've gotten fresh color on your brush, is that this first stroke is a nice dark potent version of the color, and then when you dip the tip of your brush in water and you come back, it's a lighter version, and so it gives that shape a nice contrast, and then you kind of have a very nice flowy look happening. And so I kind of like to kind of just have things fading off that way, lighter. So the more I'm dipping the tip of my brush in water, the more I'm kind of extending to go outward, but the main focus is on the main leaves attached to the stem. There we go. So I'm really liking how this blue looks. We'll do a little bit more here, and then we're going to focus on the purple. So let's get a little bit more of the darker blue. Just kind of thinking about which color. Hi, Annemiek from Holland. I think I pronounced that right. I'm not quite sure. Hi, Andy. Welcome, guys. So this next one, I think, because we've got one happening there, I'll just kind of end it downward. So just like that. And then, again, using the tip of my brush, pressing down, trailing off. So we want these leaves to look like they are dancing in the wind and having fun. So now I'm getting some of the other color, and I'm just adding a little bit of swish in and around here. I'm going to add some tinier looking ones here on this side. I'm going to push this up so you guys can see better. Swishing the color around. Again, my hope is we can get some nice pretty blends. And so that's why I am using two brushes at the same time to kind of get that effect, or help achieve that effect rather. There we go. And then I think we can just kind of do one more here. Which brush was this one. So I think I want the ones at the end here to be a lot tinier. Now what you will find is the more you're doing these leaves, the easier it becomes, and the less it starts looking less rigid, because when you first start out, you're still kind of trying to get the hang of it. And this is why I've decided to do Sunday lives related to what we do in the weekly videos, is so that you have the opportunity to do a quick practice before you sit down to kind of do something together. And then this way you're more in the know. It's all about getting used to the strokes, getting used to your brushes, knowing, and if you've had the opportunity to practice beforehand, you kind of know exactly how much pressure to add, how much pressure to kind of hold off on, that sort of thing. And so it just makes Makes for a more satisfying outcome at the end of it all. Although, mind you, I find a lot of people say they watch the videos first and then they go ahead and do their own. So this way they know exactly what's happening. So you can do that too. It's really your preference. So now I'm just going to end this strand that we have here by just doing a little bit of trailing off with looser strokes like this, not really attached to anything. And then maybe just even, oh no, I don't like how that one turned out. Ah, see, this is overdoing it. So I was really hoping to go for a lighter, softer fade, but I'm making it worse. So I'm just gonna leave that as is. Okay. We're gonna move on to doing the purple version of this. So actually, you could end this right here and it's totally fine. But if you want to add a splatter, you can add a splatter. But I normally like to leave the splatters for the absolute end. We've done this. I would like to do a version of purple over it as well. So for those who want to do that, you can absolutely continue. If you like how yours has turned out, then leave it as is. Again, using the same two brushes so we can get two colors going at the same time. I am going to be using, I think the amethyst is too dark. Just dab some water that's fallen down, splattered on there. I think the amethyst is too dark, so I'm going to use Libra and Sagittarius. I think that will go well with these colors right here. So we'll start off with Sagittarius. Although I do really like how that amethyst looks. So I think maybe I want to give it a try. Yeah, I think I will go with my gut instinct and give the amethyst a try, and then if it doesn't work, we can always switch to the Libra as I previously mentioned. Debbie, I'm so happy that you feel that way. Isn't it relaxing? I sure find it super relaxing when you're just doing the leaves and you kind of just carried away with the flow, and it does its job of just getting you in the zone. So activating the amethyst, and I'm just gonna put it onto my palette on the side. Yeah, see, the amethyst is too dark. I don't think it's going to work. Okay, so I'm just gonna wash it off, and I'm going to use the, as I previously mentioned, what was it? The Libra. Too much water on my brush here. I'm just going to mix it with the whatever I had left over from the amethyst. Why waste? And I think when you mix, you get some interesting results. So we're all learning and growing together. Okay, so that's good. Let's try it out. I think I need a little bit more of this Sagittarius. Okay. All right. So these leaves, I think, I know, will make them a lot more longer as opposed to thicker and rounded this way. Before I begin, does anyone have any questions? And while I'm taking sips of water, not water, coffee. Okay, I'm gonna begin. But feel free to post your questions if you have any. Again, I will start off by doing my strands coming out from the top right here. And so for these, I'll do some going this way and some going that way. And notice how my my wrist is not on the paper anymore, but I am just going to start my longer leaf from using the tip of my ZenART, pressing down and kind of trailing into that right there. I'm going to use some of the other color and just add some strokes here to the side. Now I think this makes it a little too thick. Actually, no, maybe not. You've still got that nice length happening. So let's go with the flow. And I'm doing the tendril stroke bits for this as well. And we're going to continue. And these are going to be overlapping. We're going to have them overlapping, yeah. And I like what's happened there. Now this has happened because clearly there wasn't, the brush was not damp enough. And so I've got these, it almost looks like a texture. Like a very dry effect texture happening in there. And I'm gonna get a little bit more of the pinky version of it and just have some lightly flaring out on a lighter scale. So dipping the tip of my brush in water, lightly scaling out, and just kind of being really loose with the strokes so that it's not all attached and such. There we go. I'm gonna do one at the top here too. Great. And so we've got quite a bit happening there, so I think I want to taper it as we go downward and not have as much. So actually, I'm looking at the screen and this needs a little bit more of the Sagittarius just so that it blends in like the rest of it. Just a tad bit. There we go. And this one at the top here too. Just mixing more color. No, was it Libra? I think it was Libra. Okay, so now we're just going to move on and do some over here on this side. And I'm going to fluctuate again with the colors. I want to try and add some that are slightly smaller in size. Again, trying to aim for variation in sizing. And then just adding, again, adding the second variation of color, kind of go on. And that's good. So looking at it on screen, we've got some nice flare at the top, at the bottom. I don't want to infiltrate the center too much because we're just going to do one last thing, which is adding some of the sage just to kind of get some nice balance with the metallics. So getting a little bit more color, let's do just a few strands in the center. Leia, I'm glad you like the purple. You are a fan of purple, aren't you? Like, I think you are partial to purple, if I remember correctly. I was still able to get some pink in there too. Purple is a very pretty color though, and I think a lot of people really love it, so it's always a crowd pleaser, if I remember correctly. There we go. So we've got some here. I just think I'll do some waving off on this end. As well. Dipping the tip of my brush in water to get like a lighter look. Effect. Also hovering my hand above the sheet of paper so I can get more looser strokes in. Not being afraid to paint over some of the leaves that I've already painted. And then going in with a little bit of the pink to kind of give it that two-tone aspect things. Yeah, so at this point you're kind of just adding touches wherever you fit or see fit. So go with that flow. That's why I'm not giving you too much instruction. That's the thing with loose watercolor. It's all about interpretation and what you feel and where you feel things should go. You will never be able to fully mimic what I am painting. I will never be able to fully mimic what I am painting if I tried it again. So, so just keep that in mind when you're actually attempting this style. All right, so last but not least, we are going to do some sage and then maybe add some elements of gold in it. Let's see how that looks when we're done. Getting my Zen brush. For this one, we're just going to use the one color. We're not using two different colors, so. Activating the color. And I think most of the top and the bottom is dried. The middle is the last that we did, so we'll kind of do that at the end. Now, this third set of leaves, I guess, needs to be a lot more. We've got, this is already quite heavy, so this should be a lot lighter. So I think we're going to do something more along the lines of tinier looking leaves. Yeah. Yeah, I think that, I was thinking berries, but then we can't do the splatter and we won't get the effects like such. So let's try and do some tinier looking leaves. So I'll start from the bottom, yeah. And just using the tip, I'm lightly grazing on the sheet of paper, and then I'm just creating these tiny guys here. some slightly bigger, some tiny. Yeah, I think something like that. Maybe lesser leaves and more stem. Let's do some poking out on this end here. I gotta figure out how to incorporate. How are we going to incorporate the metallics to this? I think it'll be on a very delicate scale for sure, because these are tiny leaves, and that's okay. We've got a lot of metallics to begin with anyway, so it's not like we need a whole lot more. So I'm overlapping some. So do not be afraid to overlap. And so we've got 1, 2. Let's do a little bit happening over here. Remember the tiny little tendril-like trail-offs for these guys. So we've got 3. I'll do a little bit at the top, and then let's sit back and decide if we need to do any more. Pulling this down so you can see my view better. Now I'm really nitpicking at the top there. But I was thinking it would be nice to make it look really full at the top, and then it kind of gets tapered at the bottom, but that's neither here nor there. So really, I think it's just a thought that came to my mind. If you guys want to continue painting after we are done the live, then you can absolutely try that, and then do this several times, because it is relaxing to do, it is fun to do, it is easy to do, and it is a great way to practice doing your strokes. It's a great way to practice getting to know your brushes if you're using new brushes, and it's not a lot of effort. And you will find, if you're new to watercolor, if you're just starting out your journey, even if you've been doing it for a while, that the more you do basic things like this, the easier it becomes for you to kind of sit down and go, hey, I want to paint this. Oh, I think I know how to do that. Let's try this, and this, because you're automatically programmed at that point to, like, you could do this in your sleep. Like, that's how easy it'll become. So when you're actually trying to venture out of just basic leaves, you can use these basic strokes and create something better, right? So never look at it as something just oh, this is too simple, or it's not going anywhere. Oh, it's going somewhere. You'll see. All right, so I think I'm gonna end this off here. Just do a couple more of these, like, strokey bits here and there. Strokey bits, like my description. Let's do a couple here. All right, not doing anything else to this. I think this is great as is. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Lanka. Yep, Cindy. Yep, KMS colors are doing it for me for sure. Okay, so we are going to use one last thing, as I mentioned before, just to kind of add a little bit of some sort of gold or bronze to our leaves here. But if you like the contrast and how it's turned out, if you have been doing it like how I've been doing it, the metallics and then this, you can leave it or just continue doing what I'm doing. So again, we're just using the ZenART brush. So this, again, this tutorial was meant to be, we're using one kind of brush, one kind of stroke, and creating several different things with it and trying to be versatile. And the idea is to get you used to the strokes and thinking also brush control with the sizing and whatnot. So it worked out that I couldn't find my number 4. So I'm going to use the rose quartz. It's like a bronzy pinky color, and I'm going to add, we did the bottom leaves first, so I'm gonna go to the bottom leaves first, and I'm gonna add a couple of strokes on the inside of these leaves. And it's going to be extremely delicate because I'm just grazing the tip of my brush over the leaf. And I'm not doing it for all the leaves either, just a couple. I don't even know if you can see it. Let me see if I can zoom in and there we go. Zoomed in. Yeah, you can barely see the gold stroke in the leaf here, but you get the idea. So I'm literally just doing one line. If your leaves are bigger, you can absolutely go ahead and do more of this kind of detail, doing some of the veins. And yeah, so back to it. Where's my rose quartz? So going back to the center here. I gotta look up every time to make sure that you guys are able to see my screen and that I am not off screen. It's happened a couple of times, and then because it doesn't ding me every time someone messages me or alerts me, and there's also a bit of a lag for lives, so I don't get to know right away. There we go. Yep. I am liking that. And yes, you know what? In hindsight, as I am looking, not in hindsight, in full sight, as I am looking at this, we will definitely be doing a splatter with this rose quartz bit that we have. And in fact, on top of a splatter, I also want to do tiny little berry type elements happening in a couple of different places around these leaves. Again, we're introducing a new shape to our thicks and thins. We've got the long leaves, we've got the broad leaves, and now we've got some little tiny polka dot circles happening. So here's how you can enhance. They almost kind of look like a very loose rendition of olives, I think. Now when we add the splatter at the end, this is going to make it look a lot more fuller, depending on the size of splatter, obviously, because I think it all depends on how much water to color ratio and all of that stuff. Also the size of your brush when you're doing the splatter at the end. So keep that in mind. That's another thing to practice, right? Like splatters with different kinds of brushes to see what kind of effects you get. Okay, like that. And we are almost done, which I think is perfect because it's almost time. Not that we hold to the 1 hour every Sunday, but but it typically ends up being an hour. So making sure you can see the top really quickly. I think you can. There we go. Adding last few finishing touches to the leaves at the very, very top. And then finally, some of the berries to the leaves at the top. Okay. So splatter using the same brush, and I am going to get quite a bit of the color from there and mix it on my palette so I can actually mix some water in with it and then do a splatter, and then we are done. You can survey how it looks, and you know what, I think for the splatter we can absolutely zoom out, Someone's asking what paper I am using. Linda, I am using Legion Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press Black. And all my supplies are listed in the description below, so you can see exactly what I'm using and either get something similar if you have it, or yeah. Okay, so splatter. Some at the top, some here. Now you can see my splatter is very, very tiny, but what I'm doing is mixing more water with it as I kind of add more of the splatter, and this actually not only makes the splatter bigger, but also changes the color intensity because I'm adding more water to it. So now I've got two different variations of splatter in terms of size and also color, which is what I like to see in my work, because then you've got a variety of different things happening. All right, so there we go. We are done. I'm going to zoom in again so you can see more detail. One sec. It's not automatic focus for a reason. But here we go. So you can see the difference in, well, I can see it better than I can see it on my screen, but you see the kind of, it almost looks like fairy dust coming out of these leaves and tendrils. So I kind of really like how this ended up turning out. So to kind of emphasize on the fact that, you know what, the video from last week, the leaves, which is right here, all you need to do is, hold on, let me just fix, there we go. The leaves from last year, if you check it out, learn the technique, and then watch this video, do this with me, and you can create something really pretty. That changed really quick. And that's it for today, guys. I'm just going to see if anyone has any questions. Thanks. It looks like everyone really enjoyed it. Hi, Pam. Thanks, Caddy. Thanks, Leah. Thanks, Steven. Adriana, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, guys, if you've joined in halfway, you can absolutely catch this, catch the whole replay later. It's always on the channel, so just go for it. Thanks, Cindy. All right, that's it. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Quick reminder, don't forget to check out Instagram tomorrow or Facebook. I am on Instagram and Facebook. The links are also below. My handle on Instagram is at Hello Clarice G, which is actually also on my screen. I just noticed. So follow me there, guys. Hit the like button if you like this, and please consider subscribing if you like videos like this. All right. So wishing you all a wonderful Sunday, and looking forward to seeing all your work rolling in. So tag me online. I want to see it. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Jill. Happy 2022, guys. Here's to many, many, many more lives and videos and learning together and having fun and joking around while painting. All right, guys.